Today I'm doing my 1 month, 1 palette update, and I am going to talk about the palettes that I picked for July-ish. I do these mid-month, so it's like mid-month of 1 month into the other month. But I picked these in July, so I'm just going to do that, July. So I had the Kardashian Beauty. At the time I got it, it was called Chroma, but it's now called Kardashian Beauty palette in Kourtney's Cardazzle and the Tarte for True Blood palette. And these are the palettes right here. This is the Kardashian one, and this is the Tarte for True Blood, obviously. So I did do 2 separate get ready with me's for these palettes, which I'm probably not going to do most of the time, but I took this one here with me when I went out of town. I was gone for basically a week, and this was the only thing I took. I did use it exclusively like this, so I thought I would do a get ready with me with it exclusively. So I liked this palette as basically a secondary palette, like if I wanted some of these shimmery colors. I always thought that these ones right here were really crappy, but I liked these ones right here, especially at the time I got it. This one right here. I don't love this palette though. I don't think it's good enough for a standalone palette. It came out with the look, but it wasn't like as dark as you'd expect from those kind of colors. Like these ones here, this one right here. It wasn't as dark as you'd expect. I might hang on to it a little while longer and at least try to use up this one, maybe these 2 over here, but I don't know that I'll hang on to this palette all that long. It was not a good single palette, like to use all by itself. However, I did use the blush and the highlight while I was out of town, though I did not do it in my get ready with me. And I actually like these. I didn't use this one, but I used these and I actually did like these. So, I don't know. I mean, it might be a palette to hang on to just to use as a secondary palette if you just need a little bit of those colors. Though I have been finding, if you saw the last 1 month, 1 palette when I was talking about the Jeffree Star palette, I was saying that the only real shadow that I thought was all that unique was kind of the burgundy one, and I'm finding that that is actually not the case at all, because this one has one, and the Tarte for True Blood has one, so you know, really I could probably find these colors in some of the other palettes that I have, but I do like that it's pretty shimmery. So I'll probably hang on to it at least for a little while, try to use it as a secondary palette to some of the other palettes, but I did not love it on its own, though it was usable and workable. Then I have the Tarte for True Blood, and someone had actually asked me when I pulled this out, because it's very, very old. I was actually, like 5, 6 years old now. So shadows do tend to go bad after a time. However, you know, they were a little powdery, but I've always found that Tarte shadows were a little powdery. So it did kick up a lot of powder. This is the palette. But I really didn't find that there was a huge problem with pigmentation in any of the shadows that I used. They all seemed to show up well. And, you know, for what they were, because it's all neutral. Some of them are really light neutral, so they do show up lightly. But for the darker ones, like this silver right here, it shows up pretty well. It showed up on my eyes when I used it. I actually tried to use it in the Get Ready With Me and then took it away because I didn't like it. It didn't really go with what I was doing. But, you know, that is this look right here, and you can see that it is pretty dark, though I did add in some other colors to it. The one thing that I will say about this, which I complained about in my Get Ready With Me, is the darker ones, the purple, the green, the blue, they are all black based. So they show up basically as a tinted black. So like you can see right here, the purple is really dark. It was almost black, and I actually added another purple on top of it. So that's what I would say about these. They show up better as the color in a swatch than they do on the lid. The color kind of goes away quite a bit, and it's really left with more of just a tinted black. But you can see in these that black is the base for that color. So it does show up like that, which I found not just with this palette, but with other palettes that had that black base kind of jewel tone. It never really shows up as well as the swatches do on the eye, because you start blending and it almost blends away the color that's kind of mixed in with the black. So it's a lot of just darkness. So I think, considering how old this is, I rarely used it, and maybe that has something to do with it. But I think that the quality is still pretty good. It just has, I don't know, not necessarily my favorite shadows. Like, I would really love for these colors to turn out like this. These are the two that I used, but they just didn't, and were more of a blackish. So, yeah, so, I mean, I do like it, I guess. And I actually forgot it had this little pull-out thing. I took out most of the stuff because it had I think a mascara in there, but there's still an eyeliner in here from all that time ago. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that I don't think I'd get rid of it. I might use some of the neutrals out of it. It's got some nice neutrals. Of course, neutrals are in everything, but if I could go back, I would not get this. So I have 2 new palettes for this month. I did pick 2, and I probably will continue to pick 2 unless I pick one massive one, because I have a lot, and I'm trying to kind of pair them up. I have some that have a lot of colors and some that have a lot of neutrals. I have newer ones, I have older ones, so I'm really trying to pair up my shadows so I have like a variety when I use them, or like, pair up an old shadow with a new palette, because I do want to use my new stuff or newer stuff, but I also need to use the older stuff. In this case, however, I'm pairing up a neutral palette with a colorful palette that I don't know that I've used either of these. Honestly, I know I swatched them, obviously, because I do that, but I don't think I've ever actually really sat down and used these. So the first one is my neutral palette, and it's the Beautiful Creatures palette by Pure Minerals. And I am a sucker for branded products. So I liked the book Beautiful Creatures. I did not like the movie Beautiful Creatures. However, I still wanted the palette. At the time, I think, and probably still, I think this is the only thing by Pure Minerals that I have, or Pure, whatever they call themselves now. So at the time, it was Pure Minerals. So this is the only thing that I have by them, and I think it still is. So this is the palette, and there is that burgundy color again that I thought was in no palettes, but is in all palettes, apparently. So this is what it looks like. It's just a standard neutral, but I do like that it has this color right here, because that's a little bit different, and I really want to try working with that one. And I'm probably going to skip out on this just because I have done that before. It's apparently in every palette I own, and I had no idea. So this one's a nice neutral. The pan sizes are not that big either, which this would actually be probably a good Pan That palette if you have it, because they look like they're pretty small. So yeah, the first one is the Beautiful Creatures palette by Pure Minerals. And then my next one is the Lime Crime Aquatania palette. I think it's that right there. And I don't think they make these anymore at all. So this is what it looks like, and it's super colorful. So I want to try to work with that, and I probably will just do this Get Ready With Me together unless I find like a really awesome, like super bright look, then I might do two. You know, you never know. But this is really pretty, and I love those colors. I haven't used it on my eyes really. I did swatch it, but I don't know that I've ever really used it on my eyes, so they may not be as pigmented as their swatches are. I will have to see. But that is everything for this 1 month 1 palette update. I will link my Get Ready With Me's that I've done for this. And if you haven't checked out my previous video, it will be linked to the side, and my Project Payam playlist is also linked to the side, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.